Visit Strawberry, and today we're going to check on everything that's on Yancord. It's going to take a while, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know how far it goes. We're going to see. Moonlit Warrior Slain fan server. Oh my god, OMG, hi! You're the first person to join my server! I was getting worried that nobody would find this place. It's not a place, technically. I'm so happy to meet another fan of Moonlight Warrior Slain. To be honest, I don't know much about it. That's fine. I love introducing people. I'm actually really surprised that this game doesn't have a bigger following. It was revolutionary for its time. It had an epic female protagonist, a rich story with deep philosophical themes, and riveting cinematic cutscenes. Super ambitious for a game that released in 1989, right? Sounds cool. How do I play it? Unless you have whatever the heck that says, entertainment system, you'll have to emulate it. It's super easy to find on ROM though. The gameplay was super addictive, but what really got me hooked was the story. The protagonist is super gray. It's hard to just decide if she's a good guy or a villain. She's a serial killer, but she's only killing criminals. So, does that make her a good guy, or is she no different than the people she kills? It gets you to think about questions like, when is it justified to take a human life? And when is it acceptable to take the law into your own hands? The game did an excellent job of exploring such complex subjects in between the gameplay sections. Cool, right? Very interesting. I might give it a try sometime. Awesome! Actually, some people have speculated that the developer's intention was to spread his personal beliefs on vigilantism. And that vigilantism is the only way to solve society's problems. He may have been attempting to convince players that they should imitate the game's protagonist and become serial killing vigilantes in the real world. I don't know if those theories are true, but I have to admit the game did have some solid arguments. And gosh, I can't even see, my eyes are tearing up. An advocacy of oh my gosh, I keep on saying the wrong word. Vigilantism. Oh my gosh, you guys know what word that was. Okay, anyways. What do you think? Are there situations where it's justified to take the law into your own hands? I've never thought about it. It's a fun topic to discuss. It can lead to some really interesting debates. Sometimes the police are corrupt. I've seen it firsthand. Too often the legal system lets us down and fails to deliver justice. I'm honestly surprised that that I rarely hear people discussing this subject. Shouldn't this be at the forefront of everyone's minds? It's a matter of life and death. There are people in the world who have no problem with harming other people. I feel like they should be our top concern. If you take a single step outside your home, you're putting yourself at risk of being victimized by a criminal. Actually, You can even be victimized inside your home. If you're so concerned about crime, become a cop. Didn't you hear what I just said about the police and the legal system? I'll spell it out for you. I don't have any faith in them. In the country I live in, 33% of the adults have a criminal record. The city I live in has... Wait, where was I? She's still going. Oh my gosh. Where was it? Where? Okay. The country I live in is 33% of adults, okay, have a criminal record. The city I live in has the highest murder rate in the country. The police around here are notoriously corrupt too. If I could afford it, I'd move to another city in a heartbeat. But it's just not possible for me right now. I'm not asking for pity. I'm just trying to explain why I'm... Oh, wait a second. Dang it, my mom is calling me. I have to go. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye! And she logs out. Hey, I know, she logged in. Yay, I was hoping you'd come back. Hi again. Nobody else has found this server yet. I tried promoting it on a few message boards, but my posts were flagged as spam, so nobody got to see it. Hey, this is kind of off topic, but have you ever heard of Life Note? I read it back when it was a manga. LOL, you sound like a hipster. I'm in love with this. I'm in love with the premise. Is it premise? Alright. A supernatural. Yeah, I think it's premise. A supernatural notebook that can control a human's behavior. But only for 60 minutes. That's an hour, bruh. What would you do if you had a notebook like that? I keep the person I love safe. Aw, that's so sweet. If I could control people, I'd want to forbid everyone on Earth from committing crimes for harming others and make the world into a utopia. But the life not only can control a person for 60 minutes, so you can't use it to stop a person from committing crimes for the rest of their life. The life note can still create a utopia, though, by forcing criminals to end their own lives. That's what I'd do if I had a life note. And you'd have to die too. True. Would that really make the world a utopia? Well, I guess we'd still have disease and stuff. We'd no longer have to fear other humans. And that's a pretty big deal. Now I'm kind of sort of worried about what you think of me. I don't want you to think I'm some sort of psychopath. Okay, I know it must seem like I'm obsessed with this topic, but just hear me out. First, let's establish something. Would you rather live in a world with criminals or without criminals? You want to use my answer to justify mass murder? No, that's not it. I just need you to explain something to me. Obviously, nobody wants to live in a world where there might be mugged or murdered Everyone agrees that a world without criminals would be preferable to a world with criminals. But if that's the case, why do people always react negatively when I say that all criminals in this world should die? Regardless of whether or not you're correct, advocating for mass murder will always sound edgy. It's a statement that lacks compassion and empathy. It's a statement that lacks compassion or empathy. But criminals lack compassion and empathy, and that's why we need them gone. The most common counter-argument I've heard is just send criminals to prison so they can be reformed. But I don't think it's that simple. I've looked up the statistics for the country I live in. 2/3 of criminals go straight back to committing crimes as soon as they come out of prison, as soon as they get out of prison. Prison doesn't solve anything. The only way to fix the world is to eliminate dangerous people as soon as they've demonstrated their true nature. Where everybody makes mistakes. That's why oh crap, my mom needs to use the computer. Ugh. Voice crack. Ugh. I don't want you to think that this is the only subject I ever talk about. I'll make you a promise. Our next conversation won't have anything to do with criminals or capital punishment, okay? I gotta go. Bye. Hey, you're back. I'm glad I didn't scare you off. Don't worry. I'm going to keep my promise. I won't discuss the usual stuff. For an MWS server, we haven't discussed MWS very much, have we? But if you haven't played it, then there's not much to discuss. Ooh, I know what we can talk about. Have you heard of the ship of Theseus? What? I may have heard about it at some point. Just to make sure we're thinking of the same thing, I'll summarize it. The ship of Theseus is a thought experiment. What? Imagine a ship that is sailing across the ocean. During the journey, parts of the ship fall off and are replaced with spare parts. Especially 100% of the ship. Eventually 100% of the ship's parts are replaced. 100%. When the ship finally reaches its destination, can it still be considered the same ship that started the journey? Or should it now be considered a different ship? Still the same ship. Interesting. That's the same conclusion that I reached, but only after considering it for a really long time. If someone argues that it's a different ship, the question becomes, when did it become a different ship? Was it when the first part was replaced, or when the 50% of the parts were replaced, or when the final part was replaced, or when a specific part of the ship was replaced? The ship of Theseus sparks all kinds of interesting questions. I'm guessing the ship is a metaphor for something. You got it. Let's replace ship traveling across ocean with human traveling through life. I was thinking that. Goodness gracious. Your body contains over 50 million cells. Each of those cells has a lifespan. Some of them die after 8 hours, but some of them live up to 7 years. I knew that fact. This means that after 7 years have passed, every cell in your body has died and been replaced with a new cell. If every cell in your body has been replaced, can you still consider yourself the same person? I guess I would technically no longer be the same person if all my cells were replaced. I am not my cells. I am not affected by cells being replaced. Probably that one. So you define yourself as a consciousness, as the consciousness inside your brain, or a soul, or something, into a different person? That kind of person, what kind of person were you 7 years ago? Completely different person than I am now. What type of, I'm a completely different person than I was a year ago. What type of person will you be in 7 years? Probably a mother. I don't know. Will you have the same values? The same beliefs? I'm sure. The same personality? I don't know about that one. My personality just changed. If you change so drastically that you have nothing in common with your old self, should you consider the same person or be considered the same person or a new person? I'm a new person, so new person. I don't care. You care about this too much. I guess it's possible I could change enough to be considered a different person altogether. That's the conclusion that I reached. Oops. I really want to explain why the ship of Theseus is such a big deal to me, but, well, it has to do with those subjects I promised. I wouldn't talk about today. Promised I wouldn't talk about today. Oh, of course. So, let's pause the conversation here and pick it back up tomorrow, okay? Hope to see you tomorrow. Yay, I'm so glad you're back. Okay, so continuing from where we left off, the reason I brought up the ship of Theseus is because it leads into something else I want to talk about. Let's imagine that a man commits murder. Oh my gosh, what about the murder? However, nobody can find any incriminating evidence, so he doesn't get convicted of his crime. Can we imagine that it's a Japanese schoolgirl instead of a man? Yeah, girl power. Huh? The murderer's identity isn't really important. Anyway, 7 years pass and you discover evidence of a man's crime. She's gonna go to jail just for that. You could get him interested. You can get him interested. You can get him arrested, but at that point in time, the man has developed into a completely different person. The man now has different values, different beliefs, and a different personality, etc. You wouldn't even be able to recognize him as the same guy who committed murder 7 years ago. He's also attempted to atone for his crime, but by doing good deeds for the past 7 years, donating to charity, feeding the homeless, etc. Considering how much the man has changed since he committed murder, would you report his crime, or would you let him remain free? I think I'd stay silent. It doesn't sound like he deserves to be punished at that point. So you'd appoint yourself as his judge and decide his verdict yourself, completely bypassing the police and the legal system? That's similar to what vigilantes do. Just saying. Okay, let's imagine a different scenario. A man commits murder, then immediately afterwards he develops amnesia. He has absolutely no knowledge of his crime. He builds a new life and develops a completely new identity. 7 years later, you find evidence of the man's crime. He still doesn't remember a single thing about his former identity. From his perspective, everyone else committed that murder. Considering the fact that he has amnesia and doesn't remember anything from his previous life, would you report his crime or would you let him remain free? I'd stay silent. He's not the same person as the murderer. People change, guys. Oh, that reminds me of our conversation about the ship of Theseus. Okay, next question. No murderers this time. Let's say that there are two thieves. One of them steals because of greed, and the other one steals because he's trying to feed his starving family. Both thieves are caught. You have to judge them. Would you punish the two thieves equally, or would you give them both different punishments? I wouldn't be able to punish them equally. Oh yeah? The police and legal system might not see it that way. I guess the reason why I'm considering this stuff is because I keep thinking, what if I had the same powers as Celine? And what if I had a life note? My gut reaction is to say, I would make the world a utopia by killing all the criminals, but it's not really that simple, you know? There is always the possibility, however, slim, that even a violent criminal could eventually redeem himself. And well, I don't know if it's that slim. I don't know. And not even, and not every person has a broken has. Not every person who has broken a law deserves to die, because some crimes are harmless. And besides, that many of people who make this world a horrible place aren't actually criminals. There are many ways to harm others. Most of them aren't even crimes. I wish there was a way to sort the entire human race into two categories. Bro, there's no way, because people are just people. They make mistakes. There's no good and bad. I mean, there are good and bad, but people can always change. That's why you gotta forgive people. People who make the world a better place and people who make the world worse for others. This is literally the stupidest situation right now. That would that would make it so much easier to decide who should live and who should die. Just spend your time thinking about more protective things instead. I'm gonna fight with her now. What's more productive than making the world a better and safer place? I just want to make a positive difference in the world. No, it's not. That's not it. It's more than that. I want to change this world. Ugh. I can't really figure out how to explain this. Let's continue this conversation tomorrow after I've had some time to think it over. Yeah, girl, you really need to think it over because, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Her. Hey, I was really hoping you were going to get online. There's something I want to talk with you about. I feel like these conversations we've been having have really helped me. I think I've reached the conclusion that I've been searching for. Glad I could help. Okay, so I'll explain. I've realized that society's problems don't come from crime and criminals. It's something else. It's evil. This world is a horrible place because of evil. So now I've been trying to tell you, sister. That's it. That's your big revelation. Okay. Evil is an extremely broad concept. Definition changes from person to. Okay, I guess I'll just do that one. I'm talking about a very specific definition of evil. A person's evil if they have no regard for well-being of others, regularly harm others for their own benefit. This type of person is objectively mean and making the world worse. I believe that all of the problem is society can society can be traced to evil people. Or maybe it's like, the evil attacking people and making them evil. So, that's how it works. But okay, this world is full of cruelty. But if all evil people were exterminated, there's no good in evil people, bro. You can change. Whatever. We're exterminated. We would be living in a utopia. Bruh. It's Earth. It's the world we live in. It's reality. There's no utopia here. I'm getting pretty tired of this topic. Can you talk about anything else? Yeah, attacker. I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about this subject. It's more concerning to me than anything else. I hate living in fear, and I want a solution. Can you blame me for that? I just want the world to be a better place. I just want a world where cruel people are people in it. Without cruel people in it. I just want to be able to live without fear. Okay, well that's not possible, sweet pig. I don't know if that's possible. There is possible, but no matter what, I don't know. No matter how much I think about it, no matter what angle I look at it from, no matter how hard I try to deny it, I always arrive at the same conclusion. The only way to save this world is with a genocide. Okay, well, girl, you're wrong. Genocide should only be a dirty word if you're targeting people for their race or religion. That's not true, bruh. That's not true. There's nothing wrong with wiping out evil. A genocide of evil people would make the world a utopia, wouldn't it? You have a strong desire to spill blood, and you're trying to find a way to justify it. That couldn't be further from the truth. I just want to live in a world without people who harm others. I'll do it without bloodshed if only I thought it was possible. At this point, we've had numerous conversations with each other. I think you've gotten to know me well enough to judge me, so go ahead. Don't hold back. Tell me the truth. What do you think of me? You have good intentions, but I'm worried that you might actually hurt someone. And go to prison. Stop obsessing over vigilantes from video games and manga. Grow up. That's not nice. You might be humanity's only hope. Okay, well, the other ones are worse, so. I'm going to log off for a while. I need to figure some stuff out. I'll keep your words in mind. I don't know when. When will? Oh, I don't know when will be the next time I'll log on. I'll see you around. Or maybe not. I honestly don't know. Well, we just got blocked. We just got blocked. Ghosted. Alright, I'm going to bed.